Lesson 4, Expiration. Expiration is the way of identifying files that are ready to be deleted based on policy. So when you've set your number of versions to keep and how long to keep them, once the file has exceeded those limits, it's eligible for expiration. In order to be removed from your volumes, either your tape volumes or your disk volumes, those files have to be expired. You do this by running the expire inventory command. Here's the command syntax. The required components for this command are expire inventory. The rest of the parameters are optional. Now above the line, this is the default. So by default, when you run the expire inventory command, it will be verbose. You will not wait for the process to complete in the foreground. It is by node. It is all types of data. You're going to be using one resource. You're not going to skip directories, and the duration is not specified. So the parameters below the line are the other options. One you might want to consider is the duration. Expire inventory is a very resource-intensive command. The best suggestion is to run this as a scripted command during off-peak hours. But if you need to run it manually, you can specify a duration. You can have it run expire inventory for, say, 1 hour or 2 hours. The expiration interval hours option is the number of hours between automatic inventory expiration. By default, it's 24. You're going to run this once a day. You should schedule this to run during off-peak times. You can also cancel your expiration. So if you're running expiration, you need to stop it for a moment, you can just cancel expiration. The command is cancel expiration. Then you can start it up again. The expiration interval value is set in your server options file dsmserv.opt. By default, it's 24 hours. If 24 hours is what you want, you don't need to set it in dsm.opt. That is the default value. Now we're going to run through some expiration processing examples. In this example, we have a file called resume.doc. For this file, we have 3 versions exist. That's as long as the file still exists on the client system, we will keep 3 versions. Ver_delete equals 1. This means once the file is removed from the client system, we're going to retain 1 inactive version. ret_extra, as long as the file exists, we keep the active and 1 inactive version for 30 days. And ret_only equals 60. This means once the file has been removed, we keep the last copy for 60 days. Mode equals modified. This means we're going to back up the file when it's modified. We're using incremental backups. So on day 1, we have our 1 backup, and it's our active copy. On day 2, that copy is now the inactive copy, and the changes from the second day become the active copy. Same with day 3. File version 3 is active, versions 2 and 1 are inactive. Now on day 4, we would have 4 versions. However, version 1 will be gone after expiration processing based on ver_exists equals 3. Day 5, we've backed up our file again. Now copy 2, version 2 from day 2 is now going to go away after expiration processing. On day 6, there were no changes, and so there are no new versions. Now let's look further into the future. We have day 1, 2, and 3, same. Day 4, the first version is gone after expiration processing. On day 5, there were no changes, so we have our 3 versions. Now here we are after our 30-day mark. This is our ret_extra equals 30. That means the last inactive copy is retained for 30 days. So we no longer need File 2. It will be gone after expiration processing, leaving us with our last inactive version. In this scenario, we're deleting the file on day 4. So now we're going to refer to our ver_delete and ret_only parameters. So after 60 days, we no longer have any of our versions because we're retaining the final copy only for 60 days. So after 60 days, all of the versions are gone. This is because after the file is deleted, we don't need to keep the backups for more than 60 days. That was dealing with backups where we have versions. With archive, remember, there is no versioning. You have your one copy that you're going to retain. In this example, we're saying we're going to retain the copy for 365 days. Here's our calendar year of archived file. Beginning the next year, this file that was archived on 1/1/11 will be eligible for expiration processing because it has been 365 days. On February 2012, this file, February 2011, would be eligible for expiration, and so on. This completes Unit 6 on policy management. You should now be able to define a new policy domain, policy set, management class, and backup and archive copy groups. You should be able to assign a default management class, validate and activate a policy set, and manage your policies with the Administration Center. You can now do your student exercises for Unit 6.